Good morning everyone once again. Okay, welcome to a new episode of IT Talks. Today with us we have once again Dr. Bhavin Shah. On popular demand of IQAC invites Dr. Bhavin Shah again, Innovation Ambassador, IIC, Ministry of Education, Innovation Cell and Faculty, Atharva College of Engineering, Mumbai in yet another exciting episode of IT Talks. He will be chatting live on the topics on robotics, how it is revolutionizing the industry, manufacturing sector, etc. With myself, Shivang Sharma, and my co-host Dhanlakshmi Gainer. Dr. Bhavin Shah is working as an HOD of Department of Electronics Engineering in Atharva College of Engineering, Mumbai. He is having a 9.1 years of teaching experience and 4.8 years of industry experience. He has published 29 papers in international journals and 9 papers in international conferences. His expertise include robotics, automation, microprocessors, circuit theory, and network, etc. He is working as a coordinator and team member of Atharva Robotics Center, ARIIA coordinator and team member of Atharva iCell. He and his team secured second rank in Global Entrepreneurship Exchange 2020 Idea Pitch Contest and secured third rank in Global Entrepreneurship Exchange 2021 Idea Pitch Contest organized by UMass Law Level USA. And IUCEE connected activity. Recently, he has been selected as an innovation ambassador for of IIC Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell of IIC Calendar 2020 and 2021. Definitely, sir, we are very much pleased that we have once again we have got an opportunity to speak to you. I have personally had a word with you in last ID Talks episode. Dhanlakshmi is she'll be interacting with you first time. Very warm welcome to you, sir, and a very good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and very good morning to each one of us and all the
Yes.
fans.
Yeah. So basically, as we know that currently today we are talking about the topic of robotics, and as mentioned in the introduction of sir, sir is already and a book of a robotics wherein he has been into a robotics world wherein he can himself make up a robo and make him work. So majorly, there would be no better person than Bhavin sir to talk about robotics and how this robotics actually work. So starting with the very first thing, sir. So basically, in the initial phases when the machines were introduced, machines were also introduced to reduce the human effort, and robots are also being introduced with the same mindset that human effort should be reduced and humans can do the things at the ease. So what is the major difference between a machine and a robot?
See, basically, I'll first like to go to what is robot,
Okay, yeah,
right? Now, prior to having robot, many years back, when robots were not into the market, there was a term known to as robota. It's a Slovak word. Its meaning is working hard or hardworking. Slowly, steadily, with the evolution of various machines, would be able to handle the task which has to be done manually. The revolution started beginning, the manual work started changing into the machine work, of course, to ease the task of humans. And the word robota changed to a decent word known to as a robot. And what you just asked me, that what is the difference between a machine and a robot? See, any task that you could do repeatedly with a precise repeatability and high amount of accuracy and close to the preciseness, you may term that particular thing as a robot. For example, let me give you a very good example of it. I hope we all have used sometime or someday a small piece of idols that we used to get in shops, maybe for some decoration purposes, or maybe we are purchasing something for keeping it in our temple, or various other needs. It was made with hands. We were used to call this as hatki karigari. This is very famous words that we use in India. Sir, ye hatki karigari hai. But then when we talk about the population in India, and when we talk about the workers who knows this hath ki karigari, they are very less to suffice this much amount of population if they are going to purchase it out, especially on the occasions of Diwali and various other festive occasions. The second part that it comes here is, if we are again still into, of course, hath ki karigari is excellent. There is no doubt onto that. But then if I'm not able to meet the needs of the population, of course, if I have small quantity to serve, my prices will hike. And this is where robots came into market, just to replicate a human hand. It is nothing else but a human hand. It is doing the same task. It is having excellent repeatability, minimum minimum error. We could not say it as an error also, because the error is very much negligible in case of repeatability when it is giving you as 3 mm per second, and at a top speed of 3 meter per second, and some robots of up to also 2 meters and 1 meters per second, having an capacity of sculpting that particular small piece of idol at a speed of 32 numbers in a minute, which in case of hath ki karigari may have taken hours to build one, at least 2 to 3 hours to get it finished. And that's the major difference when we talk about a machine, a human, and a robot. A machine would of course do it, but a machine would be used by a humans. I'll take that sculpting tool in my hand and I'll shape it accordingly to my needs. Again, it requires hath ki karigari itself. It requires some worker to serve that needs. And when we talk about robot, it is fully automated. We have just programmed it out. We have feed the commands. Now the robot knows well what to do, how many numbers to make in a minute. And you are all set to go. Hope I was able to give that in a particular answer on the
Yes, sir.
regards.
Sir, as you talked about that robots are made to give the task repeatedly, perform a task repeatedly.
Yeah.
Also, some robots are on automations and some robots are on AI. Like
Okay.
nowadays, AI and automations and robots are like these three terms are going very much together.
Okay.
Automation part we have made very clear how automation is inbuilt. But sir, what about AI? Why is AI required and how do we implement AI in the robots?
See, basically, AI is everywhere. It is not a new term. This is what we need to understand first. There was a huge hype on the name of AI, ML, everything. Of course, there is something new onto it, but it is nothing out of box that has come across. It's just that we have not understood that it was there with us from long years. Few people came there and built up a good name, and now people suddenly jump to, oh, this is having AI. Now the mobile phones, it's having AI lens. So this was all there with us. Now talking about specifically about the artificial intelligence. See, there are two things when you consider about the machines. A machines that will work only on commands and does not have any decision making capability. So what would happen if something happens? The machine would not be able to take the call, and an error log would be generated and the work would stop. Some engineer would have to come, would have to interface, would have to check the problem and resolve it. Now let's say I give a small mind to my machine, right? I'll talk about AI as a small mind, a small brain, which is capable of making decisions onto various errors which are already tested during the prototypings, onto which it would get to know that what exactly that error came across and what would be a feasible solution to that. Then that becomes integration of AI onto robotics. It's not only onto the robotics, AI is now everywhere. AI is nothing but the more you make the data learn to a machine. So when you have a good amount of data sets that a machine has learned, I'd already taken one very good example. I used to take it during my lectures as well. Of course, in regards to the students. So we have seen many students in the class. All are of different frequencies. So if I convert, if I classify them into let's say A, B, and C category. Of course, there is not A, B, and C, but for the sake of understanding, it's A, B, and C. Let's say I term A as the one who is very much studious, who keeps on studying day by day. He used to finish its textbook, then reference book, not whatnot, well prepared and up to date with the learning materials. Category B is something like they are like attentive, but they used to stick to only notes or a specific set of things. Itna ho gaya, passing aa gaya, मैं तो खुश हूँ. And there is some class C. Now these are the people who really score and they are very much happy with their marks because their actual study begins just 4 days prior to the exam. And that is the best part that they do and learn. And this is what we call it as in our language overnight study. And in a decent word, LMR. Now we have LMRs. And these are last minute revisions. Of course, there would be a difference. Now, if the paper does not come from what they have studied, the paper quality will become tough for them. And their suitable answer would also be there. "अरे paper तो बहुत tough था आज." The second category would still be able to attempt because they have at least learned something which was taught in the classroom activity. And the category A would of course would be well furnished with his or her knowledge during that particular time, and they would absolutely be able to score well and attempt well in the paper because they had learned out of box also. They have really up to date with their knowledge in regards to the reference books and not whatnot. Now, why I took this example? If we see and compare these chunks, this is related to the data sets. The amount of material that this category A, B, and C has learned is nothing but these data sets. The more the data sets I have fed, the more precisely I was able to answer. And the more I was able to answer accurately, and the more I was able to score. And this is nothing but what we implement in AI. So the machines that we are preparing, the robots that we are preparing, they have been made to learn into various environments. They have been taught. And then with the implementation of this AI into this, they are well incapable of the position to make that decisions in the time of any errors occurring or any call based on the factory capacity line installations that they need to make in that particular regards.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. Actually, there was a bit of a network connection because of which I was facing a problem to unmute myself. So basically, sir, as you properly mentioned about the three, you properly mentioned with the example like there are three types of student, and to be honest, I'm a student who believes in LMR. I'm a person who comes from LMR, and you being a professor from engineering, I hope you have more LMR students rather than type 1 students. Because I come from same background, so I have witnessed and gone through the same things, and I have done same things, doing last moment revision, studying just a night before. So as we discussed that why AI was necessary to implement in robotics, the next question comes is, what are your views on using humanoid robots in today's world? Because humanoid robots are something which are being upcoming very very frequently and in a good pace, like they'll be improving in a good pace. So what is its important in the current world and how it will be useful?
Absolutely. Not stick to only humanoid robots. There are hospitality and service robot platforms also been introduced in the market nowadays. Of course, it takes time to come to India, but of course, on the global platforms, there are many robots been introduced, and they have already been servicing uh, to the market needs. There are humanoid robots, there are hospitality and service robots. Now, basically, when we talk about all these things, first we need to know for what task that we require the humanoid robots to work for. Let's say consider an scenario. I still remember around 15-20 years back, the mall culture was not so very common in India. I also still remember that few more years back, let's say 25 years or so, there were no multiplex. We were having theaters or cinemas, small theaters and cinemas. Slowly, steadily, one multiplex came and then it kept on editing. Now, what happened suddenly? The mall culture started begin to adapt in India. First, people used to roam from places to places to search for various materials. Now they are getting everything under a roof, and we say that roof as a tagline as a mall. That you are having all the different types of shops, you can get everything along with entertainment and food. With of course mouth-watering offers on the food at various times, wherein the students used to run for the Tuesday offers and the Friday offers. So this is where the culture changed. And with the change of the culture, there were needs of various escorting persons onto the staffs that was needed for the malls, who would guide the visitors, who would set the pop-up desk and whatnot. It is not only stick to the culture of now for the mall for shopping purpose. In fact, you can even buy the ticket of SLL from the mall nowadays. These are all marketing strategies that you all would be knowing much better than me. And then what happens here is when a human is introduced in these particular places, of course, when a stranger comes in contact with someone who he or she wants to sell that particular tickets or some offers, it's in India, it's believed that it's a marketing hype. I'll he or she will give me some offer for which I'll have to purchase something, then I'll get coupons, and this would be a never-ending process. So mostly what happens here is a good number of potential customers are not showing that much interest as they are not comfortable or they feel that there is something that would catch them onto the regards that they will have to purchase first of this amount or that amount, etc., etc. Now let's say if I replace this particular task with a robot. Now a robot is roaming around the mall with the offers. Now it is not stick to only one particular shop's advertisement. It is doing a robot is having the advertisements of all the shops. It will periodically change the offers at the place where it has been installed, and it will attract the customers. So the first thing when the visitors was first seeing a person selling the offer, they were running from them. हाँ मुझे पता है. I know everything. I read outside. And the one thing when they'll see the robot, of course, if they are not interested in the offer, but one thing is for sure, they'll come to see the robot. That is the first thing that they will do because there is something new there, and they'll get attracted there. This is the first thing. Second thing, they do not have to answer anything to the robot. The only purpose to go to the robot is to see what the offer is. No one is going to catch them. Sir, idhar jao, sir, udhar jao. Sir, this shop is better. Sir, that shop is better. Robot will only show them, yes, these are the offers. Select the best place that will serve your need. So of course, a potential customer would be attracted. Thirdly, the task which a human has to stand there the whole day, there is a lot of energy that a human has to spend on speaking, attracting customers, which is not absolutely not needed, which are now been replaced with the help of help desk kiosk or the self-serving kiosks, which shortly may be now in India, may be in the coming years, may be replaced by the humans, humanoid robots or the hospitality and service support platforms as per the needs. And that would really be the future game changer in the Indian market. And this is where the humanoid and hospitality service robots would be playing a major role. Absolutely, in the during this pandemic, there were robots even in India on the prototype level, serving the patients were introduced. Because of the pandemic, the COVID-19 is a transmitting disease, and you are not able to go close to that patient. So the task was done well efficiently with the hospitality and service robot platforms. And yes, there is a potential market for them to grow. Of course, they are being used globally, and India would be one of the best market in the coming years.
Yes, sir, we definitely hope so. Since robotics is which very much is on hype right now, and all the students are attracted to it very much. This question is from the students' point of view that if they want to start the career in robotics, or if they want to switch their career in robotics, what they should do, like what degrees they should aim for, or like what certifications they should go for.
So there is absolutely no need of any extra certifications. Robotics is a branch which is a combination of electronics, computers, mechanics. It's a mixture of all branches. It does not mean that you require any special qualifications to build a robot. Of course, you need a team to build a robot. It's not a one person's game, right? So you need engineers from different domains having knowledge precisely onto what is the need of that particular built up of that robot, and accordingly you are well fitted to serve the robotic industry.
Yes, sir. So basically coming back to your previous answer, wherein you said that robots will be moving in the mall with the like if there are robots who will be moving in the mall with the offers. So there then from a customer point of view, from a common man's point of view, though because more people visit mall, but in India people majorly visit mall just for window shopping or AC की हवा खाने, that's it, to view कि कैसा है. It's not majorly, they don't go for shopping. And if a outlet or if some shops opt for this hospitality robots, so don't you think so the price of a particular product which because they have to compensate with the price some or the other place, so don't you think the price will be again increasing of a particular product? This is one thing. And secondly, as you previously mentioned that robots don't have to answer anything. I'm not against robot, but this is something which came into my mind because when a person is standing and person is talking to you, there are some person who unknowingly convince you for a something, and you follow them till a point. So that convincing power will also move out of the picture, because robots won't be understanding what you're feeling, or what a particular person needs to hear. So how these two situations will be tackled?
Absolutely. First, I'll go to the pricing part. Of course, when you see towards the pricing, it's a one time investment. Now, apart from pricing, if I'll consider the efficiency of the robot to serve compared to a person doing the same task repeatedly, would be absolutely more. Secondly, of course, I have to pay salary to the person as well. Now that would be an installment, monthly installments to me. And someone purchasing a robot for the same task, it's a one-time investment altogether. So pricing would not be that much, but that does not mean that they are removing that persons. They may use that person for some other task inside the shop, which is not absolutely required for that particular task, for some good skill-based task inside the shop or somewhere else based on the job that they are doing. So pricing is not that much when we compare on the long run. Coming to the second point, that what is the convincing power? See, the robot does have the answering capabilities. Now it depends on what skill sets that you want it to set at the place that you are or for the purpose that you are using. I'll take a good example of nowadays you have been going to the voice-based devices known to as Alexa, Amazon's Alexa, the Google ones, and whatnot. There are various others as well. So they do have the answering capabilities. You can feed them, you can ask them questions, they will answer you. But then if my purpose is only to serve for the offers, which that person was doing and the people were running from him, कि ये पकड़ लिया तो 5 मिनट 10 मिनट मेरा इधर ही चला जाएगा, or for some other reasons. And some would of course be attracted as well if someone wants to really, someone is not a window shopper and someone is really interested in purchasing something from the mall and is interested. But replacing that task with robots would absolutely be a win-win situation at that particular place, and they would really have that convincing powers as equivalent to what a person can do. And not only with that particular things, it is not limited to that. It would have much more features that would really attract a potential customers to shop. Even if that's a window shopper, they would have that particular convincing power that they would get that window shoppers at least inside that shop. And of course that does not mean that we are compromising on the jobs of that particular persons, as I'm again repeating that things, that particular task which is not at all needed by the human beings to do, that particular job could be taken by the robots, and that particular person could be used well in place inside the shop to serve the customers well, to demonstrate the products, which is what is needed, right? What customer needs and what a person can show them inside the shop and convince them inside the shop would be much better than what the person has not shown anything outside the shop at the entrance. And that would really make that change.
Yes, sir. Sir, this was the positive aspects of like applying the robots in the malls and etc. But sir, we had a fourth episode on industrial revolution, whether we have discussed the introduction of clouds and etc. thing. And I had asked the same question there regarding the employment. Since India is a country with a huge population, we need to employ people. So do you think at a certain level, applying robots like in the malls and etc., they are degrading the human labor? So does it have any effect on the employment? Because the person who is selling at least is getting a salesman job.
Absolutely not. See, recent articles demonstrated that introduction of robots and automated machines has in fact increased the amount of jobs in India. I'm talking about India. If you are going through that Times of India's and DNS, these are the recent articles which speak onto it. That introduction of machines and robots have really reduced the forced human labors, and they have really turned the laborers into the skilled laborers. We are not cutting off the jobs. In fact, we are skilling their jobs, right? So if a thing that could be done very easily by a robot, why do you need a person to do that? Let me take a very good example onto this. Again, I'll come to the mall only. Now I'll now slightly go aside from the small. Now we are also fond of a new market, that is the e-commerce market. And because of this pandemic, maybe mall has not run that much well than that e-commerce had done the profits in uh, twice or thrice the times of the general marketplaces. Now, if I just consider just uh, a warehouse of one e-commerce site, they have ample of products to keep. They have codings onto it. They are running less on storage space. They can't expand horizontally, they are expanding vertically. They are running in the space wherein they do not want much of the crowd to work for, otherwise there are chances that the accidents may happen knowingly or unknowingly. And this is where they are already using the robots for picking and placing of that boxes or whatsoever the materials, the objects that they need to place at that particular. And this is all automated process. There is no human involved on that particular field. So of course they have been using these things. Why? Because they want that things that the person needs to do. Why do you need a person to carry loads of boxes onto his hands when that could be done by a machine? That's a pain. We call it as when we need. It was a term that we used off lately, that is forced laborers. When there was many years back, when there was a need of laborers in the industries and whatnot, we had gone to it that they have been doing forcing the laborers to do the work even beyond the bar, beyond the certain amount that is not as per the laws. And now when you introduce the machines onto it, there is no limitation. Ask them to work 24 hours, they are ready to serve. And that is absolutely the work that a machine should do. If that could be done, if a load that is not needed by a human being to handle, the machines could handle it out, the robots would do that task. And that particular laborers could be skilled to that part that they would be able to operate them. Of course, when you introduce so many of machines in the place, you require someone to maintain it. And of course, with some good amount of teaching learning process or a proper training onto that particular needs, what that particular factory capacity requires, the laborers could be skilled and they could be used as unskilled laborers than just a laborers. And of course, when you are doing that, the quality of laborers is improving, the amount that they have been running is also more. So compared to what the work they were doing and the work now they are doing, there is a growth in the increment in their revenues as well. So it's a win-win, overall a win-win situation.
Yes, sir, definitely. So as we had discussed in the episode of 4IR, also the fourth industrial revolution, and there also you told that it's not a process of killing a job. Basically, it's a process of skilling the laborers. You'll be skilling your employees, and you'll be skilling your the counterparts who are there with you. So like as you gave an example of a mall majorly, so basically when you talk about mall, so majorly it's a humanoid robot, and also majorly you're talking about a hospitality robot which will be helping you out. Now if I come back to a topic of a manufacturing unit, then how come a robot will be used in a manufacturing unit or a manufacturing factory, or for the manufacturing purpose?
See, we are already speaking about automation. Now, automation without robots is nothing. There are robots everywhere. Only thing is they are factory capacity robots, inline robots. There's a term that they used to call it as an inline robots. Let me take an example of automobile factories or automobile sector. Major giants use this particular factory inline capacity robots. So there is not one robot doing the task. They have robots in the quantity of 100 in a line. Each robot has a particular task to do repeatedly. So a chases come into on shop floor. The robots are taking the task. Maybe the first one is welding the rear panel, and the front one is welding the front panel. The side robots are fixing the doors. If you have also kept the ceiling and the bottom robots, they'll do that task. The ceiling one will fit the roof, the bottom one will fit the engine blocks. And this is all an inline capacity. So one task is done with the first robot, it will pass on, the sensor will get generated, the first chases would be forwarded and the next chases will come. This robot will start doing the work, and meanwhile the second robot will handle the other work. And so far and so forth, this will keep on going. And the amount of production that I need to generate for the automobiles. So maybe if I'll do this with a manual work, maybe I may not be able to go for that particular amount, or maybe I may not be able to serve the mass production needs. And replacing that with robots, of course, I'm achieving that particular targets of mass production. But of course, I'm again repeating here that we are not losing on the jobs. Only thing is what the manual work were doing for the welding, now they are doing the command sitting in a good room, just giving the commands and keeping a watch on whether the work is done precisely or not. And if there are any errors to come, they are skilled enough that they would be able to handle, unless if it's a major problem and then engineer needs to come. So this all increases the value of the materials. Of course, the welding that's been done repeatedly by a robot would be good enough. The product that would be done would have a quality, and of course the things where you require the product to be generated repeatedly in the mass in the good amount of quantity would be able to serve with the help of the robots.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That question was answered perfectly. Sir, the discussion we had till now was about all the established companies, all the companies who have a basic ground level and who achieved some certain amount of success. But sir, if we are going for a startup, our base level is zero, our everything, even our experience is zero if we are going for the startup. Sir, in that case, how should we implement robotics in a startup?
So basically, we need to understand where we need robots. Once that is decided, you are taking a call whether you need or you do not need the robots. When we talk about startups, I am just into the market. I hardly sell, or I am just going to sell something to the market. My potential customers are very limited, or maybe I have not even generated that much amount. I'm just into what we say R&D. I'm just selling my products, and I'm getting the reviews on what better could I do, so that I could learn the market and I could really make improvements to the product, which I'll be selling on the to the huge populations on a later date. Now this all comes down to the process of how much readiness level you have when you are approaching the market. And any startup which is approaching the market would never go directly with the mass productions. There are limited quantities to serve, and then they will take the feedbacks on what improvement they need. Once they have decided that yes, now we are good to go, we are all set that we could invest a good amount, and we have a good investors to invest in our company, which will support us on the financial aspect, so that we could grow our company to the level onto our e-commerce platform, or whatever the technologies that they have been manufacturing. E-commerce is just one of that example. That time they will definitely need to make a call whether they need or they do not need to use the robots. Of course, introduction of robots would serve the purpose in a much better way. But then, if there is no such requirement of the robots, which a human being can also do the task, if the repeatability is not highly required, If the amount of products that you want to serve is not very high in the start, then there is absolutely no need at that particular stage. But it is not limited to. It all depends on the vision of what you want to do. Of course, robots will ease the task and will serve on a very better way. But then it all depends on, at the point of startup, how much you want to burn on the machines or onto the products. Of course, with the machines, the products that they will generate would be more good in quality, more in the, they would be very much market ready, that if the market needs adapts to their products, then they'll be immediately able to serve the huge quantities to the market. And then now this subjects to how much investments they are ready with to burn on at the place of startups. Generally, at the startup stage, it is not at all recommended that you directly burn all the amount onto machineries. It is well recommended that you first focus on the product that you are building it out. So yes, at the startup point, it is not recommended, but it is not limited to as well. It all depends on what is your vision and how confident are you with your product. So if you are ready to take that risk, of course, at the startup level, there is no limitations. Go burn your a good amount of chunk and invest in that robots and machineries that you require to build a product and go into the market. And if not, it's very well advisable that first you study the market well, study what your product is serving, what is the category it is serving, learn the demographics that is using your products, and you are then getting the surety that yes, I am into the market well, I require that mass production, go and spend on a later stage. There is no limitations, it all depends on the needs.
Okay, so I guess Dhanlakshmi got her answer majorly for the question which he had asked. As my next question, I would like to proceed with next question, and similar is the question which has been asked by Sneha in the comment section, asking that what kind of manpower is needed to operate robots. And similar was a question of mine, that what kind of manpower is needed, like if in various type of particular in various industries, various kind of robots will be required. As you mentioned previously, in manufacturing unit, there are inline robots. One will be a roof robo, one will be a bottom robo, one will be side robots. So how the work will be divided amongst the human being? Because as you told that we are skilling the labors, we are not killing the jobs. So when we are not killing the jobs, how the particular job will be distributed to a particular person? Because at the end of the day, it is a machine and it will be restricted and it will be having its limitations. And so there will be point, जैसे कि initially when you told that हाथ की कारीगरी, that हाथ की कारीगरी is not possible for a robot to do. It's only possible for a person to do. So how the job will be divided to that this particular job or this set of job should be done by a human being, this set of job should be done by robots, and how it will be helping, that will work around.
Absolutely. So when we are talking about हाथ की कारीगरी, of course we are good in हाथ की कारीगरी. That could never be replaced by any of the machines, right? The problem with the हाथ की कारीगरी is I was not able to serve with the mass productions, and I replaced that हाथ की कारीगरी with the set of codes which was replicated by a human hand. That was with the help of robots. So it is nothing that the robots are not capable enough for the हाथ की कारीगरी. Of course, they are replicating what हाथ की कारीगरी was doing it off, right? Only the difference was I was making in small. When I'm talking about हाथ की कारीगरी with a human, I am limited to the product in volume, because if I'm doing something as a manual job, persons can get tired, persons feel hungry, persons may fall sick, persons may have various other factors which will limit them. When we are replacing that with a robot, of course they also fall sick, but their sickness is known as maintenance problem, which is really a matter of concern with the industrialists, that when they fall sick, they have to burn a lot of amount onto that. But then the positive part of it is you are generating the things into a good number of volumes repeatedly in a minute. I'm comparing हाथ की कारीगरी with a machine made replications. So if I'm able to produce one object, I'm talking about object, let it be anything, which an Hatki Karigari can be developed in half an hour or 1 hour. The same thing in quantity would be generated in minutes. There is nothing like it is not able to replicate. This is what they have done it. Of course, when we do it with Hatki Karigari, there are emotions attached with it. Machines would not have that emotions. But yes, they'll have that volumes. They'll be able to serve the needs. This is what the basic difference would come across when we talk about and compare about onto this. They do not have emotions. The robots will never have the emotions. And the persons, now the manpower, how the manpower would be classified there. So now, see, when you skill the laborers to learn something, you have to be pretty very much sure that what you are skilling them on. And that skilling is appropriately onto the machines that you are fitting on the shop floor, the robots that you are installing onto your shop floor. And of course, if suppose I'll again take an example of automobile sector. If a labor is making the frame of a car side doors, of course I'll replace them and I'll teach them the training to do that same job from the robot. Now the robot is well equipped enough that they just need some few buttons to that I'll skill that laborers. They will understand that codes, because now there are two categories of laborers. One is who can be adapted to the technical grounds. We call that terms as ITI. I hope you all are familiar with that particular regards. And one who are good with the color codes. Now the one who goes well in that grounds, they will be onto the technical grounds more in the ITI. They would be also able to do some ground level maintenance part of the robots. And the one who are not able to go to that level, of course their jobs are not less, because we need someone to run the robots. And they are made aware with the help of the color codes that you have to press this button or that button based on what codes are generated. And they are well enough good to serve that particular needs. So we are not losing onto the jobs. We are not killing anyone's jobs. Just by skilling the jobs, there is a comfort to that particular labor class persons also, that they feel that particular pride that I am now operating the robot. I am not carrying only that tons of boxes that I was doing earlier. So number one, you have skilled the jobs. Number two, with the skilling of the jobs, the productions have increased in a good number of volumes. When the volumes has increased, of course the sales has increased. The sales has increased, the revenue has increased, and when the revenues are increased, then the salaries are also increased. Right? So it's a 360-degree chain. So again, they are satisfied with the salary now that they are getting. So indirectly, the job satisfaction level has increased. And lastly, if someone as in laborers, if they are doing that particular jobs, of course, they also feel at somewhere in their heart that this is not the job actually I should be doing it out. They are taking lots of pain that we may not understand. That only a person could understand who is doing that or carrying that particular jobs. And now when sitting around in a place where he is also a stakeholder of that particular factory capacity inline robots, the pride that he'll get, that yes, I am running this robot. The emotion that it will get, that this is my machine. This is the product that I have generated with my knowledge, would of course give an indirect human touch to the product that is built by the robots. So of course robots does not have emotions, but the operator that operates it does gives that emotions.
Yes, sir. I was just going to add the same thing, that Hath Ki Kalakari would give us a personal human touch. On the other hand, robots would give us volume. So we have to choose accordingly what we want as per our requirements. Also, sir, we talked about e-commerce, we talked about manufacturing industry, we talked about industrial industry. Since this is IT Talks, I would like to raise a question. How can the robots be implemented in the IT sector?
It is already implemented in the IT sector. I hope we all are not aware with the terms, but I'll just talk about the layman's language. The chat
Yes.
box, the chatbot that you used to do. What is it? It's an process, RPA. It's a robotic process automation. IT sectors have been using it from years. Why it was needed was a major question which everyone should ask. So let me just take you to that background. I still remember when Vodafone was launched in India, and various other telecom sectors were launched in India, and people were migrating from the landline phones to the telephones, and now they were costly earlier. Then with the introductions of few more telecom companies which entered into the CDMA market, and they just suddenly started selling the phones in 500 and 1000 rupees, and maybe some companies absolutely free. People started purchasing 2 and 3 phones. Every person are having 3 to 4 phone calls, and now they were not knowing what are the features of the phone, and everyone started calling onto the call centers, and there was an extreme load onto the call centers, and they were not able to serve that because you have to wait for a long queues. And this is what was the pain on the part of the person who was giving the service at the part of outsourcing side, as well as a customer, because I was not getting that appropriate service. Now the now this particular part was now replaced with the IVRs. So now first, when you dial the call to the customer care, you will be asked आपका problem क्या है. First they will learn the problem. Do you really need the technical support, or your problem is something else? So that you are being classified out from the huge crowds which really need that technical support phone calls which you need to attend. So the numbers that were getting there has been highly slashed out. Of course, the services were served with the help of RPA. So if I just wanted to know मेरा bill इतना क्यों आया, I have the option press 3. You want to know bill, you want to know why your bill, how your bill is generated, you want to know any doubts or if you have any queries on your bill, press 4. Then they will ask, do you want to speak to customer care executive, press 5. This is how everything got automated. So now the customer was not waiting in the queues for someone to answer. They were already in call. They were understanding it. And meanwhile, when they reached to that particular point, the call was transferred to the particular department which were well equipped to answer that and solve the problem. Of course, now that is also been replaced by the chatbots now. IVRs are now replaced by the chatbots. You don't even need a now phone call. Just install that app, start with the chatbot, message hi, and you will get various options. Hi, I'm here to help you. If you have this problem, press 1, 2, 3, 5, etc. etc. Not only onto this, RPA is also serving you in the employment sectors. So we are all aware about the major employment websites that's been available. So how they have been able to reach you out? This is all the RPA that is going at the background, the robotic process automation. So the moment you fill that form and you assign your job titles, your experience, your qualifications, etc., etc., at the back end, the RPA is studying what you have entered there. And at the same time, simultaneously, it is sorting out the potential employers. And then you, at the inbox, you are seeing that, yeah, this is my potential employer, this is my potential, here I should apply, this is the place I should apply, there is a job, this is a good package, and what now, based on the filters that you apply. This already been serving it in the IT sectors. This is just a few examples. It's been used in the many applications in the IT sectors.
Yes, completely. So with this, there comes a point wherein I think so, especially for the people, for the common people, the definition of a robotic, or when we talk about a robotic, they think there is a machine which will be standing or moving around. They don't understand that the person who's answering on the phone, or else one more example which came into my mind right now is when you're at a railway station, to the person that makes the announcement, until unless there are any changes in the train timing, it is also robotic only RPA which you told, it is also automation which is being used. But again, people fail to recognize it as a robotics. They tell, अरे ये तो computer में feed करके रखा हुआ है. They don't understand कि it is also kind of a robotics only. And there's a misconception, or there's not a clear picture of what actually robotics is about. So majorly, these were the things wherein we discussed about how robotics works, and what are the various factors of the how various factors can affect robotics. But as previously also I had discussed with you that there are pros and cons of each and everything. But as you only told me, and I have learned from you itself, so that there are no cons, there are challenges, and you have to overcome the challenge. So what are the challenges you feel that these are the challenges which are being faced when you want to imply robotics, or when the robotics will be implemented into the human world? Because also there are some predictions, or you can say some people say that if you make robots, or give robots too much of importance, there will be a time wherein robots will be overtaking human beings, because they will be so self efficient that they won't need humans to run themselves. They will they can they are self efficient to do their work on their own. So what are the challenges, and how these situations can be taken care of?
Absolutely. First, we talk about the challenges. Absolutely, there are no big challenges that you face when you are deciding that you want to adapt a robot, aspects for the financial grounds that you'll have to burn amount onto the things that you have been purchasing for the needs that it requires, that fulfills your requirement. Secondly, maintenance is considered to be a challenge, but it is of course not a challenge when you consider it at the amount of production that you are doing. It's a small chunk that you are burning it out for the 24/7 operations that you have been getting it out from the robots. So the perspective that we look about and around that this is a challenge is indirectly, it's not a challenge, it's an opportunity for us that we need to understand it out first of all. While burning, see, there's a saying in India, सस्ता रोए बार बार, महंगा रोए एक बार. This is nothing but the second one. You will cry for the first time, but it is a revenue generating process in the time. Because what you are investing, definitely the ROI within few years you will get to see the results. It is a person's call what he or she wishes to do, what are the requirements, whether they need or they do not need. But of course, major of the automobile factories and major of the manufacturing sectors are now adapting robots to ease the job. No one likes to hear, sir, आज मेरा पेट खराब है, मैं नहीं आ पाऊंगा. A single day of the production line being stopped, there is a huge losses because I am compromising on my outcome. If someone says, sir, अभी मेरे से काम नहीं हो पाएगा, मैं थक गया हूँ, no one needs to hear that. If someone says you कि सर आज मुझे यहाँ पे फंक्शन में जाना है और मुझे जल्दी निकलना है काम से, no
one wants to hear that.
No one wants to hear that. There are ample of reasons that a person can give, and they do also have genuine problems. But robot will never give you that chance. Except that when you are using it for 24/7 operations, then of course even machines would fail at some point of time. They will require servicing, which humans will also need.
The vacation of humans is basically servicing of human being. You need a vacation to service yourself so that you can perform.
Of course that. So then the challenges that we are looking around is actually not a challenge. We need to understand that's an opportunity against the things that has been satisfied, which I was not able to do without the robots. And only thing that is a major concern that it would overtake the market. Of course not. Robots are being built by the humans. You are good to decide जिसने बनाया है वो होशियार है या जो बनाने के बाद चल रहा है वो ज्यादा होशियार है. The one who has made is a god, or the one who has been made is a god.
So
It all depends on how you are making it, and there is absolutely no harm onto that. Now people says robots are not very much capable of doing the task. They may create problems. They are dangerous. They are hazardous. If a human being comes in contact with them, they could die. Of course, they are the true myths. I would not neglect them. But my dear friends, robots are built on the laws. If in a running environment you are not seeing the signboards, you are opening that doors, you are going there and you are standing in front of the machines which are working at the high speed. It is not only robot. If you are standing on a highway like a Superman, even that vehicle will work as a robot for you.
exactly.
So if you are risking your life, you are the reason for your own cause. It's not the robot that has harmed you, it is you that has gone to harm through the robots. Secondly, the robots nowadays which are made are so much intelligent that they would not cause this harm as well, because now they work on the Asimov's 3 laws, and their basic laws comes around that it should not cause any damage to the humans, and in turn the humans may not also be able to cause any damage to them. So they all are fit with that particular embedded chip that no one can change the programming. By looking at some movies, we used to see ki baba red chip jal gaya, then what will happen? There is nothing like red chip in the real world. Now everything is embedded. There is nothing that a human being can change. The programs are fixed. You cannot give any other commands which challenges the laws of operating of the robots. In case if some program which challenge the laws of operating of robots, the robots are capable enough to generate that. That is where the AI has been introduced, and they will alert you that the program is wrong. This will cause collision. We cannot run the robot, and that particular program will never run.
Exactly. That was the point I was going to come, wherein you said that in movies. So half of the population around the globe is being brainwashed by the movies itself. They're like, "अरे movies में ऐसा हुआ था तो यहाँ पे हो सकता है."
Yeah, that.
So when you told that if you're standing in the middle of a highway like a Superman, and then a car hits you, and you will say that it's a problem of a robot. It's not a problem of a robot. It's that you didn't use your senses. That you have to be sensible enough that what you're doing. Like if there is a high speed robo running around, and if you feel that I should stand in between and test whether the robo will stop or not, it won't stop. Like it's a machine at the end of the day. Why would it stop? Unless it's not being commanded, it will try to decrease the damage it will do, but at the end of the day it will definitely hit you. So majorly
So I just add you out here. There are robots now with the sensor peripheries. I again told you now the robots are operating on the laws. So in case someone tries to enter that, they follow 3 safety features. The moment the door opens, the robot stops. There are limiter switches installed onto that particular capacities. And in case if that fails, then there are emergency stop buttons also available. The one who is watching can also immediately stop. And lastly, if they come very much close to that, if everything fails, then there are sensors. The moment the sensors detect the human intrusions, they will just switch off the power supplies and the robot would stop at that place. So of course they are now been overcome, but then it's a saying कि आप खुद को मरवाने जाओगे तो you are risking your job. So this is the thing. If you are standing somewhere, if you are acting over smartly, that let's see, I'll try that. If someone is going to hit me also, if I'll say I'll go in a jungle and I'll stand in front of the lion and I'll see whether he will hit me or not. You are risking your life. Lion may or may not eat you. It is not sure. Of course, for the 90%, there are no other options. You are a very good food for them. You are going to be there.
Exactly.
Only the last 10% you will be carrying a gun and you will show you that the gun and the lion will run.
So that's the point. Like as you said that अगर आप अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारोगे तो पैर तो कटेगा. You have no other option. Like ऐसा नहीं होगा कि oh मैं बच गया. It just only happens in movie wherein some supernatural things happen and you are being saved. But in real life that's not possible. So majorly, sir, as you told that these are being laws which are being obeyed, and we are turning laborers into skilled laborers. Majorly, that's the entire thing about like introducing robotics and the fourth industrial. If we pick previous episode with us also about the fourth industrial revolution and robotics, the major thing is we need to turn our laborers into a skilled labor so that from a developing nation we convert into a developed nation. At the end of the day, that's the major agenda of everything. So, how a company or how an organization can train their employees? What are the training and development? How can a employee being trained to use it? Because at the end of the day, when you look into the organizations, see, I think so. Wherein when you have to introduce a robot, you need to have a sufficient amount of money, and sufficient amount of money is either you have a startup, or secondly, if you are a well established company. And well established company are pretty rarely to adopt to new technologies. They believe in the traditional approach. So as you previously mentioned that if you keep on following the traditional approach, you will be out of the system somewhere or the down somewhere or any other time down the line. But if they have to train their employees, if the companies who are following a traditional approach, they have to train their employees will be also working for 15, 16 years, 20 years or more than that for with that particular firm, and it will be also difficult for them to train. So what is a preferable way of training? How can you train those employees?
See, this job starts parallelly when you start deciding that you are replacing the human task with a robot. It is not a one-day process. Neither the robots get installed in a day. It requires certain structures to be built, a good layout, a work cell area, and it's a time-consuming process. Maybe it takes months and months, depending on the volume of robots that you are installing. And once you decide that particular things, at the same time, parallelly, you have to take the call of who is going to operate that particular task that the robot would do. And the simultaneous appropriate training could be given to that particular labors. Now, it does not mean that you will require the same amount of training for each and every one. So now, as I said, now there are jobs that is into ITI. So now the ITI would be different, who would be technically knowing what lines are going on, if some error occurs, what would happen, if there is something in regards to the failure of the machines, what would be the call to be taken. This is all that would matter. If we come a level below, there would be a second level of labors which would be required, that is where we'll require them for the one who will operate the machines. The robots will be the first line who will go daily onto the shop floors, who will turn on the machines, who will instruct them that the job has started, the inline factory capacity has started, and you should start the process. Thirdly, you will require laborers to who can absolutely not be trained under the level where they would only be operating on the based on color codes. So when you do this process, in this process you are bifurcating your whole amount into the whole laborers into classes. That is, you are deciding that this class are capable enough in a category that they are well equipped to go for the technical part, and you will train them onto the level of ITI. The second one was they are well equipped that they'll be able to understand the robot technical languages, and they will be on the shop floors, they will be running the robots on the daily rounds. Third one, which would only understand the color codes, and they would just stop and stop the robot, and they would just look after the operations of what is going on. And if they feel there is something that is going to cause the damage, they will take an immediate call, and they could go for the emergency press buttons and various other functionaries to enable or disable at that particular time of call. And this is where you have fabricated along that what appropriate training is needed based on the classifications of the laborers that you have had for that particular call when you decide for the robotics training. And of course there are other parts of it as well. So you require as I talk about ITI is a huge thing, and you will require someone as an working on specially onto PLC, someone specially onto the SCADA. So the training appropriately would be given to that particular chunks on that particular grounds who will be handling that particular task. And this is where we are that an manufacturing sector would take a call based on what type of training based on the needs and requirements are needed to their laborers.
Yes, sir, definitely. So majorly, as again, like majorly, these are my questions whenever I wind up with the sessions. So majorly, as you told us, these are the things which are done for the employees. So one question which Dhanlakshmi has asked previously, I'll like to ask the same question, like related to that same question again. So as she had asked that, what are the courses or what she needs to do in terms if she wants to get into robotics. But my question is, what a college or a school or a graduation or post-graduation college needs to do, or the administration needs to do, so that if or initiatives they can, for example, if we talk about Atharva College right now, so they have taken an initiative wherein they have their own robotics center, wherein you yourself are ahead of it, and you understand the entire thing, and you basically you have a control over it, that what can be done and how it can be improved. So what are the various things that a particular organization can for a particular colleges, schools, or post-graduation colleges can do for their students too?
See, robotics works on the principle of STEM: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. A person who is well equipped enough with these particular STEM concepts, they are good to go. And this is nothing that you need to add additionally to any of the science colleges or the engineering colleges. Everywhere this has been satisfied. Everyone is doing that job. Only the thing is, you need an extra bit of it when you are going to work for a robot. You require an extra knowledge that you'll have to get with the help of ROS, that you'll have to study the embedded languages that would be different for every different type of robots. Then you'll need to have that sound knowledge onto the hardware that you'll have to study at the time then when you are into the training process of the robots that you are going to handle. And this is fair enough for one to operate a robot and to learn a robot. Of course, this is not limited to, there's many things that you need to go through, because now there are various languages available, and now there are robots also being made flexible to operate on any languages. So now it was a few years back that the robot manufacturers feel that if I'll make it open, then someone would copy my or replicate my robot, and I would lose on my market. But nowadays there is absolutely a need that the field needs the robots which could run on any operating languages. So now there are robots coming into the markets which could support multi-language programmings, and they are flexible enough to even work on Linux or the Windows-based systems. And based on the customer's needs, they could be well equipped. So now this is where these particular challenges are now being resolved by the manufacturers of the robots. It's been getting resolved because changing timely is the need of an hour. If that does not happen, someone would come in the market and overtake the market. So of course now there are robots which supports multi-language programming. So there is absolutely no need that you will require to have an additional skill set for humanities or other programming languages to be learned if you are only learned some sufficient languages. But of course, uh, when you talk about the technical field, staying up to date with the knowledge is the need of an hour. The technology will change in the times, and staying up to date with that particular technology will be required. Upgrading your knowledge with that particular part would be required. And robotics is the only field wherein you are seeing the technology is growing every year. So something or the others will come new into that particular field, which will again be developed to ease your task. And of course, you'll have to be well equipped and trained in that particular regards. So there is nothing that a human being could not do. Only thing is that you'll have to get that sufficient training, you'll have to get that sufficient knowledge, you'll have to learn that sufficient languages that would be required for that particular hour that needs to be served. And that is all that you are good to go with to the robotics. And they are your friends, not the enemies. Please understand that. In fact, humanoid robots are used in globally as a friend to the children. So if you are the only child in the family, the parents offers the robots there that you will get a friend in the home, you will not feel lonely. So they are the friends, they are not the enemy. It only depends on how you see to it and how you operate it. It all starts from you.
Definitely. So as you know that majorly it's about your intention and your intent, how much you want to go ahead with it.
Excellent.
So easily, I guess most of the questions are covered from our side. Unfortunately, Dhanlakshmi had some network issues because of which she couldn't rejoin the meeting. So before winding up, and before proceeding with the vote of thanks, I would just request you if you have any message in terms of robotics or with related to robotics for the students who will be who are wanting to pursue it, or the students who are the viewers who have watched this and might be thinking of robotics in a different point of view from today. So what would be your message to the viewers and to the students who are current, for your engineering students who are currently studying engineering, who are being interested in robotics, and for the other students who are willing to take robotics as their future?
See, robotics is a huge field. It's not that I'm using this robot and the robotics is limited to that particular task. It's a very huge field. You need to decide first what field you want to select into robotics. What is your expertise? What you are comfortable with. Someone are good with the hardware, someone are good with the software parts. Someone is good in learning of the AI's teaching of the objects. Someone is good in some other skills. Someone are good in design thinking. Design thinking is now a part of robotics because you need a good design to sell robots. No one likes a piece of thing to be purchased which is not looking good. So now design thinking has become a major part of the manufacturing sectors. So these are all that you need to think first prior to take a call. And robotics is a very huge field, as I say. Whether you want to go into the software, then you are going towards the RPA side, or whether you want to go on the fields, then you are coming towards the automation side. So this is all what would matter out. And there is nothing that you need an additional boost up at this particular level. The level that you are presently on the student level, you need to make a call. What is your expertise? What is your area of interest? Once you have decided that, you are good to go for the next step. And by the time you are there into some of the companies, of course, the PLCs, the SCADAs, the HMIs, the trainings that you get in Atharva. Of course, we have been equipped with robotic centers wherein we used to train our students to be factory ready, and wherein we are giving them a good hardware as well as software knowledge onto what you can do with the robots, what are the coding languages, how you operate this, what are the troubleshooting factors if some error comes. And not limited to the industrial robots, of course, with the humanoid and hospitality robots that we have in the Atharva. And this is where we really train our students to be factory ready. But it is equally that much important that it is not limited to that. You, if you do not have, then you may not be able to take the robotics. Yes, there are courses available in the market. The PLCs, the SCADAs, the ITIs offers that particular task. Once you have made the call on what sectors you want to serve for, appropriate courses are available in the market. Even now, the major giants like the Festos, the Bear, and various other manufacturers have started giving personalized trainings. They themselves have opened their personalized trainings wherein they train and give certification courses as a part of their CSR activities. So the one who is interested into the field of robotics should definitely look forward as a second step towards such courses, and they are really good to serve the robotics industry in the time to come.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your information and for your kind words. Majorly, sir, I hope the session was very interactive for you too, and for the viewers who are watching this episode. So I'll just request if any of the viewers has any other questions in their mind, they can definitely come forward and ask us the question if they want. We'll just wait for a minute or two if they have any other questions, and then we'll proceed with the vote of thanks if they don't have.
Sure.
So majorly till the questions arise, majorly from personal point of view, how did your interest arrive in robotics? How were you inclined towards robotics, sir?
Basically, that started with my journey with Atharva itself.
Okay.
So when I joined Atharva, we were discussing onto the plans of establishing of something which would help our students to be industry ready. And this is where our inclination went towards robotics and automation. And slowly, steadily, we proposed to go with the factory capacity robot. That was the first installation that we started in the Atharva, and training our students absolutely free of cost, so that they are uh, industry ready when they are into their final year.
Mm.
Of course, I am very much thankful to Honorable Shri Sunil Rane sir, uh, Executive President, Atharva Group of Institutes, Dr. Praveen Nimade sir, Director, Atharva College of Engineering, Dr. Shrikant Kalurkar sir, Principal, Atharva College of Engineering, who had showed that trust, who had really inspired me, who had showed that faith that yes, we could do that things. And it is because of them, the guidance, the inspirations, the motivations that I got from there, that my inclinations changed into the real interest onto the field of robotics. And slowly, steadily, with the installation of the after the installation of the factory capacity robot, we went into humanoids, then hospitality and service robots, and then to the UAVs, the unmanned aerial vehicles. And we are also into the plan of lately we are into the plan of having an prototype for the industry 4.0 as well. If that could be worked off, that is there in the plan, but then let's see how we could work it off, and how early we would be able to serve to the students. Because of this pandemic, various things has put to be stopped, but yes, of course, it is there in our uh, interest. And yes, off lately we would definitely go for the industry 4.0 startups in the years to come in Atharva. And yes, our students are well equipped through the industry and the factory capacity knowledge that they need to serve to the industry.
Definitely, sir. So basically, as you mentioned that most of the things have been put on hold because of COVID, and unfortunately, uh, um, we on a personal from students' point of view, we want to come to the college, but unfortunately, we can't. Majorly, sir, that was really interesting to have a word with you, and I'm pretty lucky that as you said that you had taken an inspiration from Principal Sir, Dr. Kalulkar Sir, and I have been fortunate enough that I also had an episode with them also, and I have been pretty fortunate to have episodes with you also. So I'll be looking forward for further more episodes. So before winding up, I'll just have to. Sorry, actually there was a network error. So basically, before winding up with the show, I'd like to thank Shri Sunil Rane sir, Executive President of Atharva Group of Institute, and Dr. R.G. Ratnawat sir, Director of AIMS, for giving us this wonderful platform to interact with the masses. And last but not the least, Dr. Shubhilal Agarwal, ma'am, Director of Internal Quality Assurance Cell AIMS IQAC, for connecting us with the intellectual capital across the globe. And also, sir, I would like to thank you for giving us your precious time on a Saturday morning. You have given us your time, especially when it's raining in Mumbai. It's majorly a sleepy morning, but you have given us your precious time and you have shared your knowledge. Thank you so much for that, sir.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And a special thanks from my end to the charming host of this session, Shivang Sharma, and to all the patient audience here who has connected us this early morning. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.